Hello. The prodigal son has returned. It's me, I'm the prodigal son, except I'm not a son, I'm a daughter. Anyway, so this video is going to be a to be read pile for the reading rush. So let me break down what those words mean, because I know that the only people who watch or who have watched the last 4 videos I've uploaded have been my friends, and I'm guessing that most of them don't watch other bookish content on YouTube, so I'll explain. Okay, so first of all, a to be read list, or a TBR, is literally things that you want to read. That's it. But the reading rush part, that's the interesting part, is an online readathon hosted by members of the YouTube book community, or booktube. And the reason why it's so exciting for me is that I have been watching the creator of this readathon since about 2013. Her name is Ariel Bassett, and she makes some of my favourite content on the internet. I will be linking her down below. But yeah, she started this readathon, and it was a week-long readathon, and the aim of it was to read as many books as you possibly could within that week period. And this year it is happening in July, from July 20th to July 26th, I believe. She now runs it alongside Raylene, who is another kind of bookish content creator on the internet. And I have watched from a distance for so many years as they have run this readathon and as other people have participated in it. But I've never participated. This year is different. We're gonna try and do it. Another little bit of explanation is that as part of the readathon, Ariel and Raylene have chosen and set a number of reading challenges. And I think part of, I suppose, the usefulness of these reading challenges is that they can guide you in the creation of your TBR list or pile. So I wrote down each of the challenges, I chose my list, and now I'm gonna share it with you all. I am just so good to you guys. Okay, the first challenge is to read a book with a cover that matches the colour of your birthstone. Now, I actually did not know what my birthstone was because I am not into any of the astrology things. Is this even an astrology thing? I don't know. But I looked it up, and it's amethyst. And amethyst is a kind of purpley colour. So my task was to try and find a book that had kind of a purple on the cover that I also wanted to read. And the book that I came up with for this challenge is Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Now, you might say that there's not a lot of purple on this cover, but my response to you, dear viewer, is that it literally has the word purple on the cover. So like, that meets the challenge in and of itself. And secondly, this colour and the colour of the text is kind of purpley, like maybe it's more pink, but like pink and purple, it's all a spectrum. I think it works. And luckily for me, this is also a book that I really just want to read. A little background on the book itself. So Purple Hibiscus is set in Nigeria, and it's about a young woman's relationship with her father, who is a Catholic priest, I believe, but who is also abusive to her. And it's about her relationship with him, but also what she learns when she has to move to her aunt's house. The second challenge that Ariel and Raylene have set is to read a book that starts with the word the. Now, there are quite a few books on this planet, one may argue, that begin with the word the. So I was able to find a few books, and I had to do a little bit of narrowing down. But the book that I came up with was The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin. As you may be able to tell, it begins with the. So I've met this challenge, it works. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this. Next. No, this book is a science fiction book, and it is about a man whose dreams transform reality. Trippy. But yes, that's what it's about, and it sounds very interesting. And in fact, I know it's very interesting because I have actually started reading this book. So I started reading it about 2 months ago, and I put it down, but it's not a book that I want to give up on. So I thought it was like a good idea to put it into this list so that I can pick it up again in the readathon. So this isn't a book that I'll be starting completely anew. in the readathon. But look, I make the rules here. Okay? So it's fine. It's fine. Moving on then to the third challenge, which is to read a book that inspired a movie that you've already seen. For this challenge, I chose Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. Now, Fight Club is obviously an extremely well-known movie, starring Brad Pitt, etc., etc. And I have actually not fully seen the Fight Club, so I'm kind of bending the rules on this one a little bit. I have seen like bits and bobs of it, but I don't think I've ever sat down and fully watched it the whole way through. So my plan is I'm going to watch the movie full way through, give it my full attention, and do that before the readathon. And then during the readathon, I can read Fight Club in its book form. So it fits this challenge, I'm going with it, it works. Okay, the fourth challenge was to read the first book that you touch. So the way that I'm interpreting this is read the first book that you touch on your bookshelf. So I walked into my room, touched my bookshelf, and this was the first book that I touched. That lucky book that I touched was Sula by Toni Morrison. Sula is about two black girls who I think grow up relatively poor, and it's about one of these two girls going off for about 10 years and living a kind of crazy mad life, and then coming back to the town where they both grew up and reuniting with her friend who has now gotten married and had children. And I think it's about their kind of relationship and their dynamics given how much everything has changed. The next challenge is to read a book completely outside of your house. So the one I'm going to try and read outside is going to be Sula, and the reason I'm choosing that one is because it's the shortest one. So I don't have to spend that much time outside. My mind though, my mind. Okay, challenge number 6 is to read a book in a genre that you've always wanted to read more of. Now, I've been cheeky yet again, and I'm also going to double up this challenge with one of the books, and that's going to be The Lathe of Heaven. I'm being strategic here, guys, okay? So The Lathe of Heaven, as I said earlier, is a sci-fi book, and I have never actually read any sci-fi before, so that's a genre that I want to read at least some of. And so The Lathe of Heaven fits the bill perfectly. Why would I even bother trying to get another book for this challenge? You know what I mean? Finally then, we have the last challenge, and that challenge is to read a book that takes place on a different continent to where you live. I live in Ireland, which is in Europe, so I can't read a book that's based in Europe. But I can read a book that's based in Africa, and guess what, you guys? Guess what? Purple Hibiscus is based in Africa. That's right, we're doubling up again. So that's it. Those are the 7 challenges, and those are the 4 books that I'm going to try and read in 1 week. Do I think I'm going to be able to do that? Not really, to be honest, but I am trying to work on having more self-confidence and believing in myself. So we're going to say, yeah, I can do that. And so with a heavy heart, we say goodbye yet again. I hope you're all keeping well and staying safe, etc., etc. Goodbye.